In 2019, a stainless steel wristwatch sold for over $31 million. It wasn't a car. It wasn't a painting. It was a watch. And it didn't just tell the time. It sang. It struck the hours, the minutes, and even the date on demand. For nearly 2 centuries, one name has sat alone at the very top of the watchmaking world. A name whispered among kings, presidents, and collectors. A name that doesn't just represent money, but legacy. But this is not a story about money. It is a story about a Polish soldier who lost his country, a French inventor who lost his key, and a Swiss family who became the guardians of time itself. This is the legend of Patek Philippe. Our story begins not in the quiet workshops of Geneva, but on the blood-soaked battlefields of Poland. The year was 1830. A young cavalry officer named Antoni Patek fought bravely for his homeland's freedom. He was just 16 years old when he joined the fight, and he wore his honor like armor. But the uprising failed. Poland was erased from the map. Patek fled to France, then to Switzerland. He arrived in Geneva with nothing but the clothes on his back and the spirit of a soldier. He had lost his country, but he refused to lose himself. He found work in a small watch workshop, learning the delicate art of watchmaking to be by 1839. He had opened his own company with another partner, but the partnership soured, and Patek knew he needed something more. He needed a genius. In 1844, at the Great Industrial Exposition in Paris, he found him. A soft-spoken French watchmaker named Jean-Adrien Philippe was demonstrating his latest invention. Until that moment, every watch in the world needed a separate key to be wound. It was clumsy. It was easy to lose. Philippe had invented something revolutionary. A system where you could wind the watch and set the time using a small crown on the side. The same crown you use on your watch today. Patek stood there, mesmerized. He knew instantly that he had found his partner. He approached Philippe and said, "Come work with me. Together, we will change the world." In 1845, Patek & C was born. 6 years later, it became the name we know today, Patek Philippe & C. The timing was perfect. In 1851, the Great Exhibition opened in London. It was a dazzling showcase of the world's finest achievements, and Patek Philippe was there with their most exquisite creations. And then, magic happened. Queen Victoria herself walked past their display, accompanied by Prince Albert. She stopped. She was captivated by a small, delicate pocket watch adorned with hand-painted flowers. It was beautiful, yes, but more than that, it used Philippe's new keyless winding system. She purchased it on the spot. Overnight, Patek Philippe became the watch of royalty. Kings, queens, emperors, and tsars lined up to own one. The great composer Tchaikovsky wore one. Albert Einstein trusted one to keep time for his theories of relativity. Patek Philippe was no longer just a watch company. It was a symbol of the highest achievement in human craftsmanship. But every great story has its trials. The Great Depression of the 1930s sent shockwaves through the world. Luxury was the first thing people abandoned. By 1932, the descendants of the founding families found themselves in a desperate situation. They were forced to sell the company. Enter 2 brothers, Charles and Jean Stern. The Sterns were not outsiders. They owned a renowned dial-making factory in Geneva and had been trusted suppliers to Patek Philippe for years. They knew the company's soul. They didn't see a failing business. They saw a legacy worth preserving. They purchased Patek Philippe and made a promise. They would protect its heritage and its values. They would keep it in the family. That promise has been kept for nearly a century. Today, the Stern family, now in its 4th generation of leadership under Thierry Stern, still owns and runs Patek Philippe. This unbroken chain of family ownership is exceptionally rare. It is the very foundation of its independence and its uncompromising quality. With the Stern family at the helm, Patek Philippe continued to create watches that would become legends. In 1932, the same year they took over, they launched the Calatrava. Inspired by the minimalist Bauhaus art movement, it was the purest expression of elegance. A simple, round case, clean dial, a leather strap, nothing more, nothing less. It remains the definitive dress watch to this day. But in 1976, they shocked the watch world. At a time when luxury watches were made of gold, they introduced the Nautilus. It was designed by the legendary Gerald Genta, who famously sketched the entire design in 5 minutes after overhearing a Patek executive complain about the need for a luxury steel watch. Inspired by the porthole of a ship, its steel case was both sporty and breathtakingly elegant. It created an entirely new category, the luxury sports watch. Then, in 1997, came the Aquanaut, a younger, more daring sibling to the Nautilus, with a composite strap and a modern design. It captured a new generation of enthusiasts. But design was only half the story. Their true genius lay in what ticked inside. Patek Philippe holds more than 100 patents. They didn't follow trends. They created them. In 1845, they invented the keyless winding system. In 1889, they patented the perpetual calendar for pocket watches. In 1925, they created the first perpetual calendar wristwatch. In 1996, they invented the annual calendar, a complication so ingenious and practical that it became an instant classic. But their watchmakers are artists of the impossible. In 1933, they completed the Henry Graves supercomplication for a wealthy New York banker. It was a pocket watch with 24 complications, including a chart of the night sky over New York. It was the most complicated watch ever built, a title it held for 56 years. In 1989, to celebrate their 150th anniversary, they one-upped themselves. The Caliber 89 was a masterpiece with 33 complications. It took 5 years to develop and contained 1,728 components. And then, in 2014, for their 175th anniversary, they did it again. This time on the wrist. The Grandmaster Chime, with its 20 complications and 2 reversible faces, became the most complicated wristwatch they had ever made. Let me tell you about those 20 complications. They are not just features. They are mechanical poems. It has a grande sonnerie that automatically strikes the hours and quarters. Petite sonnerie for a gentler chime. A minute repeater that sings the time on demand. An alarm that audibly strikes the time you set, a world first. And a date repeater that chimes the current date. Another world first. It has 2 separate power reserves. One for the movement and one for the chimes, so you never run out of song mid-strike. It has a second time zone width. Perhaps the most powerful part of the Patek Philippe story is not about watches at all. It is about what they represent. In 1996, they launched an advertising campaign built around a single, profound line. You never actually own a Patek Philippe. You merely look after it for the next generation. This phrase captured the soul of the brand. Patek Philippe is not a possession. It is a legacy. It is a bridge between generations. A story passed from a father to a son, from a mother to a daughter. It is a promise of permanence in a disposable world. This is why their watches fetch record prices at auctions. In 2014, the Henry Graves supercomplication sold for over $24 million. In 2019, a stainless steel Grandmaster Chime sold for over $31 million, becoming the most expensive wristwatch ever sold. Owning a Patek Philippe is not about showing off. It is about joining an exclusive club, a fellowship of those who understand that true luxury is not about price, but about heritage, artistry, and the stories we leave behind. To see where this magic happens, you must travel to Geneva. The heart of their production is not in one building, but in a state-of-the-art campus in the suburb of Plan-les-Ouidies. In 2020, they inaugurated a magnificent new 10-story manufacture. It cost over 600 million Swiss francs to build. It is a gleaming monument to Swiss craftsmanship, designed to unite all their artisans under one roof for generations to come. This is where the future legends are born. And if you want to see the past, you must visit the Patek Philippe Museum in downtown Geneva. It is a treasure trove of horological history, housing thousands of priceless timepieces from the last 500 years. It is a pilgrimage site for anyone who loves the art of time. Let us return to the people, for a watchmaker's story is always a family story. Antoine Patek married Marie-Louise Denizart in 1839. They had 3 children, but his son Lyon chose not to join the company. Today, no direct descendants of Antoine Patek are involved in the business. Jean-Adrien Philippe had a daughter, Louise, and a son, Joseph Emile. Louise's marriage to Joseph Antoine Benassi was crucial, as he joined the firm and helped carry the legacy forward. But by 1951, no direct descendants of the Philippe family remained. The Stern family is the dynasty that rules today. After Charles and Jean Stern bought the company, leadership passed to Charles's son, Henri Stern, then to his son, Philippe Stern. Philippe was a former world-class skier, a champion who understood that precision and courage go hand in hand. He is now the honorary chairman. His son, Thierry Stern, took over as president in 2009. Thierry is married to Sandrine Stern, who creatively directs the design of their watch dials. She is the artistic eye behind some of the most beautiful faces in horology. And their son, Adrian Stern, is already training to one day lead the company. He is the fifth generation, the future guardian of the legacy. And so the story continues. A story that began with a Polish soldier fleeing his homeland and a French inventor dreaming of a better machine. A story that was saved by a Swiss family who understood that some things are worth more than money. Today, Patek Philippe produces only about 60 to 70,000 watches a year. In a world of mass production, they choose to remain small. They choose to remain family-owned. They choose. The $31 million masterpiece. Imagine a machine so complex, it takes 100,000 hours to bring it to life. A masterpiece made of 1,366 microscopic parts. In 2019, a single watch was sold for $31 million. It wasn't covered in diamonds. It carried a name that has defined excellence for 2 centuries, Patek Philippe. But how did a Polish officer and a French inventor turn a tool into a symbol of ultimate power? To celebrate their heritage, they created the Grandmaster chime, a mechanical brain with 20 complications. First, the voice. It features 6 acoustic functions, including a minute repeater and a world-first date repeater that rings the day of the month. Second, the intelligence. A perpetual calendar that tracks leap years and a 4-digit year display that stays accurate until the year 2100. Third, the guard. 5 safety mechanisms. Mechanical isolators that prevent the gears from breaking, ensuring the watch protects itself from human error. There is a reason for their motto. You never actually own a Patek Philippe. You merely look after it for the next generation. It is not a purchase. It is a piece of eternity. Thank you for watching Watchology. Join us next time as we go back to the origins of the oldest name in Swiss history, Vacheron Constantin. Subscribe because every second counts.